I think I'm going to retitle the episode. We can come up with something clever afterwards, right?
Something sassy.
Yeah. Buckle up.
I'm buckled.
Can you give it to me? Baby, step to the beat. I'm down on my knees. Madonna is unstoppable.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna Louise, Veronica Giacone. Hey, everybody, it's Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC. Today on the show, we are joined by Topher Taylor, an award-winning writer, sex educator, and adult toy developer from London. Welcome to the show, Topher.
Thank you for having me. This is like my people. I feel like I'm in my cult.
Yes. We were going to go live at the top of the hour, but Topher was adhering to Madonna time, and
These motherfuckers freak me out.
yes, a little bit of technical difficulties, as one does when you have such a high-level, sophisticated show, such as an MLVC podcast episode. So,
Absolutely.
So you write sex and politics columns in Gay London Life magazine. You're just like Carrie Bradshaw on Sex and the City.
Yeah, just my shoes on is expensive. Actually, some of them are. But yeah, I write. I've written for a lot of magazines over the years, but I like this one because it's free, so every queer person can pick it up. You know, they haven't got to pay $5, $10, whatever. They can just pick it up for free, and that's the best way, I think, because it kind of gets you in people's faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like MLVC, we're a free show. Everyone can partake. So
Yeah, equal opportunities for.
exactly. Did you watch And Just Like That? Were you a Sex and the City and Just Like That fan?
I liked Sex and the City quite a lot. I suffered the first season of it just like that. I couldn't really bring myself to watch anymore just because I got the reviews from my friends, and I held that show in such high esteem that I don't want to ruin it for myself. So I kind of like to have my own idea of what happened to the character.
Well, it's there if you ever want to jump into that world and see what they do, you know.
Yeah, well, if I'm feeling masochistic.
Exactly. So let's talk about Madonna. Topher and I were meant to meet up when I was visiting London this past summer. He had a little birthday, and I was unable to join because of jet lag. So our paths did not cross in person, but we've been chatting for ages.
Yeah, I love your podcast. It's nice to like connect with people who kind of have that, because I think Madonna is such a like connecting thing between a lot of people, because she's not just a musician, she's like a cultural inspiration. Like maybe there's a lot of like psychological emphasis, like your sexuality, your worldview, your politics, etc. I think so. I like meeting her fans because it's always a bit more like profound.
Mm-hmm. Were you stalking Madonna while she was in London recently?
No, I have accidentally walked past her house, so I didn't even realize it. And when I was about 16 years old, I got interviewed to work in a hotel, and it turns out it's literally directly in front of it, and I didn't realize. I just found out later, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I should have taken that job."
Yeah, Neil from Madonna Fan Party escorted me by her house so I could snap a picture, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's a house. There we go." You know.
Yeah, that part of London isn't that much fun to walk around. It's just like loads of hotels, and they're all offices, and yeah, privately owned.
It's posh.
Yeah, it's like behind, like you go for Selfridges, you're going towards like Hyde Park and all that. So there's not really that much to do unless you want to stare at concrete. And
yeah. I mean, it makes sense that she'd live in that neighborhood though, because it's kind of like it's not in the center of like it's not Covent Garden, you know.
Yeah, she's smart.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you become a Madonna fan? Let's start from the beginning.
Gosh, such a long. I mean, she's kind of been relevant my entire life. So I was born into a world in which she was, the most famous woman ever. So I was like a child, and Madonna was just always she was always there. She was always on TV. In the UK, like during the 90s, especially, music television was huge. It wasn't just MTV. We had all these channels. And the first like impression, or first thing, the first time I remember seeing her was the bedtime stories kind of era. So it was like Human Nature, and she scared me, and I thought she was like a witch. because the black hair and the out, because I didn't understand it. I just thought, gosh, it's quite scary, but I really liked the song. And my mum used to get annoyed because I would be singing like, these lyrics which are really provocative. I didn't know what they meant, of course. I was just like, I just kind of got obsessed with her. And I think on a superficial level, it's because she's got such a strong face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was really drawn to her face because she kind of has that like feline, when I was a kid, I used to love drawing. So I was always drawing her face. So she kind of became this like art piece for me. It sounds strange, but it's quite hard to articulate it. I just loved the way she looked. And then obviously the songs were great. And then as I got older, you find out more about her personality, and she's just kind of she's always been relevant in my like brain.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same with me. The first time she came on my radar was coming down the stairs to Dress You Up at the Virgin tour video. And I don't know what it was about just her look and she just came across so dynamic, and I was just kind of mesmerized.
It's those big, big eyes. And I think for me, just looking at it as a child, I was like, wow, she's so interesting looking, and the way she dressed. And, I'm looking at back then a woman in a black latex bodysuit. To me, it's not sexual. It's just an outfit because I'm a child. I'm not sexualizing it. So to me, it was just this really visual music video. And then obviously from there, we went into, she started to release slower songs, which I really enjoyed. And my mum was happy for me to listen to them because they weren't that sexual. And then it turned into Ray of Light. And that's when I was like Madonna obsessed. Like she was like the religious figure to me.
How old were you when Ray of Light came out?
I think I was 8 or 9.
Oh, so young. Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And I loved the record because it was just like dance music. And, the lyrics didn't mean that much to me back then, but I just liked the sound of it. I loved the visuals. And obviously Frozen was huge in the UK. Yeah, Ray of Light was big here, the single, but Frozen was like everywhere you went, every restaurant you walked into, every like supermarket. So I think Frozen was probably my biggest memory apart from discovering her, because that song was just enormous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what a great era that was. I mean, it's true. She was sort of everywhere at that time because, MTV loved her. The critics loved her. Fans were loving her. It was a good Madonna era. And I air quote that because, as we know, like Erotica, basically Ray of Light was not marred with any controversy. It was very straightforward. People were appreciating it because of the music, because of the lyrics, because of the visuals. It was, everyone was sort of on board with her.
Yeah, and that electronic dance thing, which was huge in Europe. So that record here was just everywhere. Everyone loved Ray of Light.
What do you feel about Veronica Electronica now that that was... I mean, I don't know if you were aware that she was tinkering or toying with that idea back when Ray of Light came out, but like, how is it to sort of have that after all these years?
It's fun because the album Ray of Light was supposed to be called Veronica Electronica, right?
Originally, I think that was what she was tossing around. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was younger, and I was like, if I'm going to be a drag queen, I'm going to call myself Veronica Electronica. So it was quite cute to have it pop up, and I've played it to death, of course.
Yeah. So were you aware of, because we didn't have streaming back then, were you aware of the remixes? Because ultimately the remixes on Veronica Electronica are the same ones that she'd put out back then, just kind of shortened.
Yeah, I didn't really have much access to the remixes when back then, because I come from like a working class family. Like you just get one record if you're lucky. So yeah. I just had Ray of Light, but it's just really nice to hear them now and just like imagine how I would have responded to them back then.
Yeah, I imagine. Obviously, you were too young to be going out to a club, Yeah.
No, I started going to clubs when I was like 13, so I wasn't that far off.
Well, almost. Close enough.
Yeah, almost there, yeah.
Well, so what was playing out when you were 13? What was that, maybe?
It was like, I remember Roger Sanchez, like Another Chance. It was that kind of like early 2000s, like Daft Punk, when that really European electronic atmospheric, the kind of get together vibe music, which I always describe it. And that's why I was so happy when I heard Get Together, because I'm like, she's finally done that, because I could never articulate that style of electronic music. I just call it European atmospheric, Sex in the City background, kind of, and I could never, and then I heard Get Together and I'm like, she did it. Of course she did it. If anyone was going to.
And I'm so happy you mentioned that, because that's exactly when I heard Get Together for the first time, I like, not that I was having a panic attack, but I was so euphoric because those synths, as it's driving in and building, and you hear her voice sort of coming in from the, out in the universe. And I just remember feeling so uplifted and being like, oh my God, this is the Madonna song I've been waiting for my entire life.
Yeah, I totally identify with that. It was just, I remember when I first heard it, and because obviously the record just played through in one go, didn't it? And it just turned into this song, and I'm like, shit, I think I like this more than Hung Up. And in retrospect, I don't think I do, but I think it's just because I wasn't expecting to hear her do something. And then now I know about Stuart Price and his
Right.
DJ context, and he's an incredible electronic music producer, and I'm a fan of a lot of his other stuff as well. He's got a band called Zoot Woman, I believe, and I have their
Call
record
what?
Zoot Woman, I believe they're called.
Mm.
And I've played they're a bit more like kind of indie, but everything Stuart Price touches, I love. And then just to have him plus Madonna and this, like, I just have this way of articulating this sound. And I don't know if maybe people listening to this might identify or understand that, like, you're this cosmopolitan, and maybe you're in a city like New York or London. Maybe you're like going for cocktails, you're single, and you're in like a bougie bar, and a hot guy walks in, and it's just kind of this atmospheric Y2K-ish sound that's still almost very futuristic. But that makes sense in my head. I probably sound insane. But.
No. I get where you're going with it, because although Get Together sounds very 2000-ish, I also feel it has a very timeless sound to it. Like, you could play that for somebody today who had never heard that song, and I don't think they'd think it sounds dated quite in the way that some other music from like the 2000s might sound dated.
Yeah, it's that atmospheric vibe, and it sounds like you're listening to a DJ set. So you're experiencing the rise and the fall of the music very obviously. I think that was one of the amazing things about Confessions in general, was the way it was produced was so smart, because it felt like you're in a club.
Mm-hmm.
And the way but just his production in the background, all the swooshing and whooshing, and I love all that. That's like kind of my goosebump music.
Yeah, and it was interesting that they chose Hung Up as the lead single. I mean, obviously that's a banger and so earworm, but to me, I've always felt like Hung Up isn't representative of the album. I feel like the album sonically is very different. It's like Hung Up, maybe, and I think I've said this before, maybe I Love New York is like the closest you get to like a Hung Up, not cheese moment, but as like commercial, or as like, I guess not relevant, but like not as underground as the rest of the album.
Yeah, because it's like you kind of have this big pop open, and then it takes you to the back room of the club where there's like a private party going on, and it's very. I love that record. I love it. I love it lyrically as well. I like the kind of themes she explores. I like even though I Love New York is obviously a bit more poppy, I love like the background noises of the city. I just like how each song kind of makes you feel a bit different.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember going to, I mean, I was old enough to go to some of the big 90s clubs in New York. And my first gay club experience was I went to Limelight, which is a nightclub that was in a church, and an old church. I mean, obviously the church was out. The church was not operating at the same time the nightclub was.
Amen.
Yeah, but they had the main door, which is where like all the straight people would go in, and that was in the main dance hall. But on the side, they had the gay entrance, and
I love that.
you would have to, like, if you knew, there was free magazines in New York. One was called HX and one was called Next. And in the back of HX and Next, you could get what they called a fag tag, and you would just rip it out, and it was like a coupon, and you would go and present it at the side door, and that would get you in for free. Whereas everybody else, like the Bridge and Tunnel, coming in from Jersey or Long Island or whatnot, were going in through the front door and having to pay $20, which at the time, like 1998, $20 was a lot to get into a club. Doesn't seem like anything now, but yeah. So my friend had grabbed some fag tags for us, and we presented them. We got them for free, and then we go upstairs, and it was this area called the Attic at Limelight, and that was where like all the cool gay dance music was being played. It was obviously fun in the main dance hall, but that was a bit more commercial and a bit more like radio friendly, quote unquote. But if you were in the upstairs in the attic, that was where like stuff you weren't hearing on the radio was being played, and that is where I would imagine something like Get Together would have premiered. You know, like
Yeah.
you wouldn't have, you would have heard Hung Up in the main dance hall, but Get Together would have played in the attic.
Yeah, I love everything about that song. It's like, it's definitely one of my top Madonna songs. I just remember the fact that it was one of my real like moments. I remember the first time I heard it, I was sat on my friend's bedroom floor and we were just like, this is fucking amazing. Because you think Hung Up, it was such a good song, and you're kind of like, oh, I really hope the rest of the record is as good. Because it sets the bar so high, and Hung
Yeah.
Up was enormous in London. Like it was like much like Frozen, but Hung Up was just astronomical in the UK. Like it was
Well,
literally
because you've got the marriage of Madonna and ABBA.
and yeah, we love ABBA. Like I do. I remember when I first heard it and just being like, holy fuck! Like sorry, I keep swearing. Like she's really knocked out the ballpark this time.
Yeah.
That intro and that long intro. Again, it's that rising of the club. It's like you're going through the club doors and you're like hearing the beat getting closer to you. I just thought it was so smart, and the way that Stuart and her produced it was so intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really feel like you want to go out, because it's reminding you how it feels to walk into a club and then go into a back room, and then hear outside of the club when you're in the smoking area, like the police sirens and stuff. I thought it was pretty smart.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Madonna making the audacious claim of Confessions Part 2?
I believe in her. I do. I doubt that she would make such a claim if she wasn't really confident, because Confessions was obviously such a cultural moment. I hope it's amazing, but she could burp on a record and I'd buy it. But I have high hopes. If she's working with Stuart Price, his production quality is still insanely good. He's still got his ears to the ground of current artists, and that's kind of, I just hope that she sticks to that European electronic sensibility, and then maybe bring it up. I always wanted her to work with Royksop.
Mm-hmm.
That was always my dream. And then Robin did that amazing electronic like collaboration with Royksop, and I was like, that should have been. I love it. Like Robin's got a song called "The Girl and the Robot," which is very kind of Hung Up-esque, the production.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I know, I love Robin too. I'll have to look that up.
It's incredible. It's an amazing song.
Robin's good. I love that she sort of like goes all over the place, and with such speed too, you know, like as opposed to someone like Madonna who's making us wait a little long. But see, and I think that's the thing that's happening right now with us as Madonna fans. We're so starved for new Madonna music, and for her to dangle that carrot in front of our faces saying Confessions Part 2, we don't know what that means to her. You know, we know, like, I guess everyone has their own ideas of, you hear Confessions 2 and you're like, my instantaneous thought is there better be something as epic as Get Together on this next album. Like, and I think that's my expectation, is that I want there to be that level of a surprise, you know, like Hung Up, not that it wasn't surprising to me, but it was like, I heard it, I accepted it, and it just became part of Madonna canon. Whereas Get Together, when I heard that subverted any expectation I had as to what a Madonna song could or would sound like. It was such a surprise shift for me. And that's sort of where I'm at with this album. I'm like, is it just going to sound expected, or are they going to surprise me again? And I'm hoping for the latter. You know, I hope it really is like pulls the rug out from underneath me, where I'm like thinking, it can't get any better than Get Together. And then she like pushes me down a flight of stairs and she's laughing from the top, being like, see, I told you.
Yeah, this I really want, because I'm really rooting for her, because she gets so much, like, especially the last few records, which I've enjoyed, but like publicly a lot of people aren't positive about them, and that irritates me because I don't think they really give them much of a chance. But I really just want her to kind of be like a big fuck you, like, this is an amazing electronic record. Fuck all my haters. Like, sorry, I keep swearing. I got real foul mouth today.
Right. It's a Madonna podcast. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry. And I write about sex for a living. It's hard not to swear. But I just really want that moment of like just this real hooky, unusual electronic pop song, because we know she can write hits. Like Madonna can write a melody. We all know that. She's proven it time and time again. Like, it's going to be in the history books until the end of time. But if she just comes out with something very edgy, you know, underground elements, but still a little bit of a pop twist. But I know she can do it. I know Stuart can do it. I just want to hear it now. I don't
Right?
want to wait another fucking 6 months.
Yeah, I know. I mean, part of me is like, oh, I hope it comes out in time for the 20th anniversary of the actual Confessions album, which is this fall. And Madonna Australia posted just recently that, like, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, that 20 years ago, 2 days ago, was when she updated her website to announce when the Confessions album was going to be released. And I was like, oh, remember those days when Madonna used to give us information about when new music was going to arrive? Now we're just left alone in the dark.
I remember the voicemail. There was a voicemail thing, wasn't there? I remember doing that. And I just remember hearing the first like previews of it and being like, holy shit, like this is really good. This is really, really good. Because I loved American Life, but it did get a lot of like, cynical press in the UK. So I was just really rooting for her. And she didn't just knock it out of the ballpark. She like fucking flung it at the sun. And I was like, I knew she'd do it. I don't know why I doubted her. And then Hard Candy, which I loved. Then again, it kind of got, and I think that's when it's in the UK, especially the music press here is so cynical and pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
And then she started that. So I just really want this one. First of all, I want it to come soon. The world is in a very horrible place right now. I think we could do with some Madonna. So yeah, I think she, especially for her queer fans, like uplift us a little bit. So I think we're kind of needing it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's on her own timeline, and we're not in charge of when she's going to actually release something. But yeah, I'm hoping for sooner rather than later. To me, it would seem strange to not acknowledge the 20th anniversary. If you're going to do a sequel to that album, why not drop it around the same time? Like, to me, that just seems like a no-brainer. But again, Madonna likes to subvert expectations, so she might not. She might just be like, no. And who knows? Maybe her marketing plan is like, let's avoid Taylor Swift. Let's avoid, avoid some of these bigger releases that are dropping around the same time because they want to give her record a chance. And not that, like, look, if she has good music, people are going to come, people are going to get there. But obviously, we don't want her to get lost in Taylor Swift consuming the top 20 on streaming and Madonna not getting a chance for, to be heard. So,
I wanted to have like a fair chance. That really impressed. I can't believe it's been 20 years. When I was hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my God, I remember so vividly playing that record and I can't believe that's 20 years.
Well, it's, Madonna even says that time is a social construct, where I'm like, it feels like it was a long time ago, but then at the same time, like listening to Get Together, I can sort of like time travel back to that instance of when I was hearing it for the very first time. And so question, do you think that we'll get a tour?
Yes. I do. Seeing her on stage for the celebration tour, I could just see like that energy within her. And I saw I always have this thing when I see Madonna on stage, because I won't go unless I'm up close, just because if I'm not close to her, I feel like I have this unbearable FOMO and I won't enjoy myself. So I'm happy to put my money where my mouth is. And when you see her up close, there is such a youthful joy to her, and she's so cute. And I think you just see something come over her when she's on stage, especially because I caught her in the early stage of the tour, before she's starting to get pissed off and tired. And there's just this bouncy, youthful, and you see like her, it's almost like she becomes a teenager, and it's just something in her body language. And I think when you see that in person, because it doesn't always translate on camera, like you see that like energy and vivaciousness. And I think there's plenty more to come. And I can't see her getting tired really, or giving up.
When was the first time you saw Madonna live?
Oh, I know. I feel embarrassed because it's quite late in, but I went to see Sticky and Sweet.
Okay. Hey, good energy.
I couldn't afford it before. I was a working class child, but I was like 18. I think how old was I when I was 19 when I saw her, and I was just amazed. Amazed.
Because I've always adored her. Were you close for Sticky and Sweet?
Yeah. And I was just so amazed by her body mostly. I mean, obviously the performance, but it was just her silhouette, because I've always loved her silhouette. Her silhouette during Sticky and Sweet was just unbelievable, and I spent the entire thing looking at her thighs.
She was so athletic in Sticky and Sweet. It was like she's always been athletic, but like Sticky and Sweet was like it was almost as if she had done Confessions, and so many people lauded her over that she was like, "You ain't seen nothing yet," and then she like jumped it up even more. I mean, it was kind of crazy how athletic she was.
I loved it. I loved her arms, and she got torn apart for it in this dress, but it's in the press. Sorry, but it's strange because the press was so focusing, saying, "Oh, she looks so masculine and it's so unattractive." But every single woman I know that I speak about Madonna, everyone we have this. Me and my friends say we want Madonna arms.
Mm-hmm.
We all want those like slim, toned like arms. Like I want Madonna arms, and I'm a 6 foot man. I think. But just seeing it in person, and I think seeing her live for the first time, really, I loved her anyway. Like I'm a cult member to the day I die, but seeing her in person and seeing that energy and, like I said, that vitality and that charisma she has on stage in person, because she looks great on camera, we all know that, but seeing it in person is just, that's what I always say to anyone who's cynical about her is you don't understand Madonna until you see her live.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is just something about her and that magnetism and seeing that face, because that face you've seen on magazines your whole life. You've seen it on TV, you've seen it on CD and cassette printouts. When you see it in person, or if you're lucky enough for her to look at you, it's like a lightning bolt just goes through your skeleton. I just think she's incredible.
Yeah, I also feel like if you've not gotten a chance to see her live, I don't feel like the tour films do her justice, or at least the recent ones do her any justice. I don't feel like you get a chance to sort of properly see how she performs and how her energy is conveyed via those tour films, because they're a bit more music video-ish. I think
they're very edited.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously, when I watch the Confessions tour, I feel like that's a really great example of how she is as a performer, and I feel like you get to see that. But yeah, when you see her in person, I mean, she's just, I've seen plenty of other people on tour, and they're great, they're entertaining, but she sort of does something just a little bit differently than other people.
Yeah. And I think as well she has that because there's so much cultural conversation around Madonna. Like she's transcended being human to a lot of people now. So when you see this, obviously she's a human being, we know this, but there is just something about it because there is so much emphasis on Madonna, and there always has been for most of us for our entire lives. And then there she is, she's 10 meters away from you and she's doing backflips or whatever. And she's got her ass hanging out, but she just looks so creamy and plush. And another thing I love about her when you see her in person is her skin. She has this flawless, creamy, white, moisturized skin. And like, I'm a homosexual, obviously, you can tell, but I get a little bit confused. Like, she's very sexy. And I totally understand like why all these young guys like her when you see her in person, because she's really cute.
You have the same sort of dewy, white, effervescent skin that Madonna does.
I think, do you know, one of the reasons I don't tan is because of her. Because I do actually tan.
It'll help you out when you're older, like people won't know.
Yeah, this is I'm from an Irish family, but all my Irish family are olive skin, so I do actually tan. But I always wanted to stay pale because as a kid I was so influenced by her and David Bowie, and they were both like milk white. Mm-hmm. So it kind of influenced my tastes and how I like to look.
Yeah, for those not watching the show, if you're listening to the audio version, Topher is basically Madonna in the Papa Don't Preach era. Very like dark eyebrows, blondes, short cropped hair. It's or maybe even a little girly show.
Okay, I'm going to screen record this and play it back to myself 3 times a day. So please keep it coming. When I wake up tomorrow looking like a ball bag, I'll be like, yeah. But sometimes when I do see pictures of her on the girly show, I can see kind of, because I'm obviously my hair is lifted, but I am a natural blonde and my eyebrows have always been dark, and that's another reason why I connected with her so much once I got to know who she was, because I saw pictures of her like Who's That Girl? I used to get picked on in school for having blonde hair and dark eyebrows, and I was like, well, Madonna has it. Which went down really well as a little gay boy in school.
Of course.
I just put an even bigger target on my head. But in my mind, I was like, I don't care because Madonna does.
Yeah. And honestly, that's sort of how I think growing up as a closeted gay kid, I sort of found validation in my even though I didn't even know I was gay at the time, like Madonna sort of made things feel normal to me. So I was like, voguing? Sure. That seems normal to do anywhere because Madonna's doing it.
Yeah, she's like a really great. That's why I say like whenever people ask me about her relationships with like her queer fans, is that she kind of there's this thing with her like when you're young, you don't really understand your sexuality. You just kind of know through the things that she represents that this person would accept you. But also, what I like about her the most, and one of the reasons I really clung to her psychologically, because I was really badly bullied throughout my childhood, was that Madonna to me represented the kind of person being like, don't sit and cry, don't cry about it, get up. And I really needed that. So I think that's why I clung to her a lot psychologically, because she was kind of a voice in my head being like, to stop crying, yeah, you don't deserve it. Yeah, it sucks. But what are you going to do? You're going to roll over and cry, or you're going to get on with your life and express yourself. And I think that has always been like about like even on my wall in my living room, I've got to express yourself, don't repress yourself, because that was in my head always. Every time I'd get bullied, I'd get upset, but like, no, Madonna would be tough, and that was a really helpful like thing. I'm sure it wouldn't be for everyone, but for me personally, it was like a buoyancy device.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I've loved discovering or learning or having reaffirmed as, I do this show, that Madonna means different things to different people. And there's not one way to love her. Everyone has their sort of own appreciation and what she means to them. But I think the through line is that she's helped us all in a way, whether it be get us through a bad time, get us through a happy time. Like there's been something where she's either her music or her attitude or her wonderful, like some of her quotes that she says in interviews, it's all been about like lifting us up, helping keep us going, loving ourselves, speaking our truth. So
yeah, there was one really standout moment for me, which was in 2015 when she released Rebel Heart. And I remember it was a surprise. And I was going through her horrific breakup. Like I was in that real shit stage where like I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I was having terrible anxiety. Like I felt like my rib cages were pulsating all the time. It was a horrific physical manifestation of a breakup. And I never want to go through that again. And then Rebel Heart got released and I heard Unapologetic Bitch. And I was just like, oh my God, she's done it again. Like she's done it again. She's come and she's swooped me up. And I clung to that song like crazy because the timing was so, I needed that song at that moment because I was really getting quite physically sick. And then I used that song to kind of help me out of it. So little thing, I mean, obviously it wasn't done for me, but it's just an example of how being the way that she has been throughout her career for so long, when she does release something, when she puts lyrics down, people listen. Because you apply worth to her words because she means something to you. She's earned that meaning because she's been so important for so long, and she's done so many special things.
Yeah. So for everyone watching, listening, I had asked Topher to give me 5 of his favorite Madonna videos and or live performances so we could briefly chat about each.
This is hard.
Yeah. Anytime somebody's like, what are your favorite, like, what would you say your top 10? I'm like, well, it changes depending on the month, the year.
Yeah.
So first one that you mentioned was Nobody Knows Me from the Reinvention Tour.
Oh my God. That is my number 2 Madonna moment of all time. I love that performance so much. I love everything about it. Love that remix.
Tell me why.
It's intimidating, it's aggressive, it's jerky, it's electronic, chaotic. It's kind of got electro clash influences, and I loved electro clash as a teenager. And the way she looks, the creamy thighs, those nice leather boots that go over the knee, the way the fishnet hold, and that Le Croix, is it Le Croix, isn't it? The gorgeous
her bustier.
Yeah, with the one shoulder on, one shoulder. Just everything about that performance, the hair with the ringlets, just so, I just know that. I remember when I watched it for the first time, my jaw was like, she's so sexy and aggressive, and she looks so angry, but then she looks so like serene at the same time, and that she's having fun.
Yeah. I remember seeing, Reinvention Tour came out at the time before we would get a lot of like you couldn't get video tour spoilers on YouTube at the time because it was so long ago. We would know what the set list was going to be, and maybe pictures would leak, but you would never actually see the full-blown performances like you would now. Like Celebration Tour, the opening night in London, you were able to watch the entire tour from start to finish if you wanted to on YouTube.
I had my phone switched off for 3 days because I was going on the third night.
Yeah. And I think that was sort of like the benefit of tours back then. It was like you could stay connected but be completely unknown of what was happening during the show because people just couldn't film. But I remember seeing Nobody Knows Me. And, it was such a great opener with Vogue, and the Beast Within opening was so dramatic. And then to go into Nobody Knows Me. And the thing I always love about her is when she does those solo numbers on a tour where it's just her and no backup dancers, no one else is on stage with her. And she just commands the stage and just is so dynamic to watch. And it's such a powerful performance, considering that it's just her. And I mean, anytime they show Madonna walking or running, and her strutting down that movable catwalk, come on.
In London, there's a walkway, I think is at Waterloo Station, and it's a long walkway when you're connecting to a different subway part. And it has a moving, and I have to stop myself from walking on it. So I'm going to start fucking strutting. I know I'm, because in my head it's going dun 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 dun. Yeah, I just love that performance. To me is just so magnetic. I still watch it all the time. And in the UK, it's annoying. On Spotify, they've removed. I'm going
to tell you a secret. I know they took it down everywhere. It's so annoying.
So I have to listen to it on SoundCloud, which means I have to listen to adverts, but I will suffer an advert for Madonna. But that performance, her body, her silhouette, and the way she's so in control of how her body moves, and she's so sorry, I'm really rambling, but one of the things I love about the way she does the choreography in that is a lot of artists would be way too embarrassed to do that kind of solo performance because it could be seen as cringeworthy or I might look a bit stupid, but she's so confident and she's just jumping around but it's so, and I love how choreographed it is, because it looks like she's losing control, but I love, what she's like. She's never losing control on stage, but she knows exactly where to put her hands and when she's got her arms wrapped over the gate and she's popping, it's so sexy.
I thought she was going to fall. Literally, when I saw that first time in person and she did that, I was like, my heart just stopped for a moment. And
I'm so jealous you saw it in person.
It was great. I wish that was one of those moments I just couldn't get tickets any closer. And I wish I had been super close. I think it was 14th row or something, which was close enough, but I wanted to be closer.
Yeah, I wanted to be on the stage. I want to be the runway. She can walk on me. I volunteer.
Another live performance you mentioned was Erotica / You Thrill Me from the Confessions tour.
That is my number one Madonna moment of all time. That is my number one of any single, any experience, anything she's ever done. That to me is just the most beautifully produced piece of music. And I love the lyrics of Erotica, obviously, because I work in the adult industry. I'm a very sexual kind of person, but the way those sexual lyrics are so romantic in that performance, it's like a softer side to Dita, and it's so sensual. And again, her silhouette in that ABBA bodysuit and the ponytail and the hip, she confuses me sometimes because the way she looks very feminine and very delicate, but there's an air of masculinity to her in her posture and her muscles, and it's so sexy. And the production of that piece of music is magnificent. My ex, just for a bit of context, he's from Lagos in Nigeria. He's not interested in electronic music whatsoever. I played him that performance once, and he played it to death. I used to literally get videos sent to me of him dancing to it alone in my house because it was just, and I'm like. Because to me, that production, that kind of disco-y, underground-y, atmospheric, and it's just so sexy and perfect. And that, to me, is just my ultimate Madonna moment. Her bone structure, the way the vocals come out, it's just, and obviously the choreography and the way she gets flung around, it's just so sensual. And I think it's a smart way of looking at sex as well, because the song is erotica, but she's then showing this really romantic side, this really sensual, whereas Dita was a bit more, like I'm reminding you of what's between my legs.
She was more dom. Dita during erotica, Dita was dom. In this, she's a bit more like not
she's
sub,
gone from
but
she's gone from power bottom to like she wants to make love, and I just think that's a really magic performance. And I probably play it 2-3 times a week still, like on my screen, because I just want to see it.
yeah, hands down, that was probably one of the most surprising moments of the Confessions tour. Because again, that was out before you could really see videos like tour films, or you could easily ignore it. And I think when Confessions was coming out, I chose to stay as unknowing as possible. I was like, I don't want to spoil this for myself. So I don't think I was looking up things like set lists and, it wasn't as ubiquitous as social media. Like social media, you can't miss it. If you're on like, especially now that I host the Madonna podcast, I scroll and I see anything. But
Yeah.
back then I was like, I'm staying out of this. I don't want to know. And so I remember seeing Confessions when it came to Philadelphia, and I was like, what is this? I had no idea what song it was. And then she started singing erotic. And I was like, what? And I didn't know the words. I was like, this isn't the album version. And I'm like, what song is this? How is this erotica? And I was so thrown. And then I was mesmerized because the choreography is just so hypnotic, and to watch her with the dancers, and it's just this beautiful, it's such poetry, how it's just fluid, how they seamlessly,
that's the word, fluid. It's so
they sort of like interact with each other in this really like almost like wind blowing through a very sheer fabric, or like sheets in the wind type of thing. And again, I love watching that performance on video because, and if you've never done this, I say next time you watch it, you should do it. Pay attention to just where the microphone is. That's one of my favorite things to do, because how she choreographs the mic passing, and how it's like sometimes she gives it to a dancer, sometimes she puts it between her boobs, sometimes the dancer puts it in his pocket. So it's like where it's like try to find who has it, and I'm like, I love that they baked that into the performance. So she could dance and sing, but it's like it goes to different people all the time. It's just fascinating.
Yeah, it's a magnificent, like, I think if I was a pop star performer and I had that under my belt, that I'd done that performance, I would be the cockiest piece of shit for the rest of my life. I'd be like, you can't say shit to me, watch that. Like, it is pop. I mean, not just pop perfection, it's artistry, it's performance art, and it invokes so many things, because if you love electronic music and disco music and dance, like, it kind of has that vibe, but it's also very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
But then from a pop point of view, it's all of the above, because it's this iconic human being so sensual and soft. You're not usually used to seeing that from her.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't sing enough praises.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's really, really good. And Stuart did such a great job at, the production of the song, and it's
an incredible piece of music. Mm-hmm. Even the instrumental is magnificent.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Next up, you mentioned, and I gotta say, you ticked a bunch of my Madonna boxes on this list too, because I was like, yep, I love this. Yep, love this too. Next up, Beautiful Stranger, just the music video. Tell me why this made the list.
That was when I really was in the Madonna cult. I joined the cult. I was a child. Austin Powers, again, in the UK, was astronomical here. And I remember being in they've got this huge shopping centre at south of London. It's called Blue Water. And I just remember hearing it playing on the thing and seeing like her pictures in like the Virgin Megastore. And I was like, God, she's so like beautiful and cool. And it was just, obviously I love the song. I love that 1960s swingy, like bouncy, but she just looks so amazing. And the way she dances in that video, she's got a bit more of a tan.
Mm-hmm.
She's got that, and the cute capri pants and those arms again, just in the way she's moving on that stage and rubbing her ass in Mike Myers' face. And just, I think it's just that perfect. She does understand how to do that, like pop culture crossover. Yeah. And obviously she knows how to attach herself to the relevant things. We know that, but I think that just really connected well. And I fucking love that song.
It's so one, it's such a catchy song. Like I love that it's still William Orbit, so it's Ray of Light adjacent, but it's much more commercial than like commercial sounding, meaning like it's definitely like a pop princess sounding type of song, like almost Spice Girls ish, where
Yeah, it's very much of that era because it's like 98, right?
99 or 98,
99, yeah.
99, yeah, around there. But yeah, I feel like whereas Ray of Light is a bit more introspective, it's pop, but it's more grounded. Whereas Beautiful Stranger is kind of like, Veronica Electronica's like wacky sister,
Yeah. I think it was. I just remember I had that single on cassette, and I think I had a Walkman. I think I had a little mini CD player by then as well, and I played it to absolute death. Like I was obsessed with that song. And I remember my mum saying to me once, "Can you stop playing that song?" I'm like, "No." She's done it. Like I love this song, and yeah, I just think it was a really fun. I have so many memories attached to that era, like that period of time, like when the film came out, and it was just huge again. Like she
Yeah.
was just really, she was getting smash hit after smash hit in the UK at that time, and I just think she looked so magnificent in that nightclub. And it's got like the dome kind of ceiling, hasn't it? And the way the lighting is done, so she's glowing amidst all of this crowd of like people in the shadows. I think it's just
Yeah,
great.
I think the success of that is not just the fact that it's a banger of a song and it's such a great like earworm song where you da 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 da, like you just can't get it out of your head. But
Mhm.
then I feel like it's like another home run is the video because she does something so brilliant where she comes across very cool, very beautiful, but also kind of goofy at the same
Yeah,
time where she's like matching Mike Myers as Austin Powers in this like in his world. And I feel like she did such a successful job at because it finally goes off the rails where like Mike Myers is Austin Powers is like imagining them in this fantasy world, and it's where like they go the full 60s where it's like the swirl and like they're doing like their legs are over their head and they're just like jumping up and down and like really
yeah.
ridiculous and goofy, but she nails it. Like it feels authentic and real and makes sense somehow in that world.
Yeah. Because it was quite an interesting transition to see her to like because Ray of Light with all these quite intense songs and like atmospheric, moody, like Ray of Light, Frozen, Nothing Really Matters, and then she's lifting her top up like she's like when you're a kid and you're pretending you're making out with someone you're doing, and like just because I think at my age as well I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, it really played into all these things, obviously pop culture, Madonna, how childish she was being, but that clip. I think it's even the single cover, the way her eyes are glowing, and just that face, like she almost looks like reptilian.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a kid and you're looking at your television screen and just think this person is so unusual and gorgeous, and I just wanted to like touch her
Yeah, the makeup and the
with consent.
hair and the styling is just perfect. A wonderful friend of mine who passed away many years ago had always said if he was to ever come back as a woman, he wants to come back as Madonna in the Beautiful Stranger video, because that was
What a
like
way to come back! Yeah,
like I can't argue with him there. But
I just look at my arms in the fucking mirror all day. If that was me, I'd be like, yeah.
I love watching that video because and next time if you've not noticed it, next time you watch Beautiful Stranger, pay attention. It's like she can't keep the hair out of her mouth. There is
Yeah,
always strands of hair flying in her mouth, and she refuses to swipe them away. And it's constantly going back in. And I'm like, oh my God. And I love that they kept that in, that they didn't like, Madonna, let's do a take where the hair's not in your mouth. And they just kept
just
it.
take the fucking lip gloss off or whatever. This is sticky. But yeah, I think she just looked so cute in that video, and I think with this choppy hair, like the ray of light, it had been lifted up. And it was a really just fun chunk of that time in pop culture because Austin Powers was like a cultural phenomenon. And
Yeah,
obviously,
it
she
was
was so
fun.
smart to get involved. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a happy marriage, I thought, of almost in the same way. Like I felt like her presence in that video and in that Austin Powers world was a great way of using her status as a pop star to insert into a really great franchise at the time. It was really well done.
yeah. Again, ballpark, straight to the
Mhm.
sun.
Next up, you chose Ray of Light live on the Oprah show, which is
There's
an
a
iconic performance.
there's a reason I chose it is because this was one of the first times I'd seen her on television properly. Like I've seen music videos, but this I can't remember how it played in the UK because I know that Oprah used to play some anyway. I saw it on television, and I was just amazed by her. And I just anyone that watches it, and there's obviously loads of things. There's loads of memes from it as well of Oprah, losing her shit.
Yeah.
But there is one like an older lady on the bottom left side of the screen who, when Madonna does the breakdown at the end and starts screaming, watch that old lady lose her shit. I love it. Every I used to make my ex watch. I'm like, here she comes, and you just see this old lady lose her mind, and she's jumping and doing that. I'm like, I have never seen another pop star other than maybe Tina Turner, who we wouldn't necessarily call her a pop star. She's more like a rock star, but I've never seen that kind of response from, especially someone of like an elderly woman.
Yeah, yeah.
If anyone watching this, go and watch it because when she does the breakdown at the end, it's just amazing. The audience erupts, but there's one woman who really goes. She goes the whole way. She was happy to see Madonna that day.
That audience is out of control. Like that's what it's when I rewatch that, I think, my God, what did they give them all like energy drinks before Madonna came out? It's as if like they can't sit down. Like they're just like nonstop.
There was like white wine spritzers underneath the chairs or whatever. Like go crazy for Madonna. But it's just the way she enters and there's that light behind her and she looks like a religious. Because I come from a Roman Catholic family too, so my grandmother had in her house all of these religious statues with like lights behind them. So the way she looks like, she looks like the Virgin Mary almost coming out. And then she breaks into this kind of more like indie version of Ray of Light. It's still obviously very electronic, but I like hearing it where you can really hear the bass and the drums and her body language and how shiny her hair is. And she looks like a religious figure to me in that, because she's got this almost like damsel-y glossy hair like Jesus. And to know there's just something very special about that performance.
Yeah, and she sounds great. I mean, she's singing live, and it's
I love that reverb. I love that. Yeah, and you can tell she's really proud of herself as well. Because I would be scared to shit that's having to sing Ray of Light like.
That's a tough, especially to go up the high note, which she doesn't do in Drown World Tour. Like she's like, no, I'm not doing that again. The high note's done.
Yeah, good for her.
Last you chose was the Human Nature music video.
Yes, because
I'm assuming I know why, but
that was my entry level drug. Now I can look at it differently because I'm older and obviously I've worked in the adult industry now for nearly 2 decades. So I really understand sex and sexuality and it's the aesthetics of sex and all the influences she's bringing and just the eroticism of it. And again, the choreography and the visuals, like those boxes and the glossy white outfits. And then when her hair changes suddenly to the big, curl, just so, and I love that song. I think that is an amazing song. That sample she used and the lyrics to Human Nature are like my go-to whenever, because I get a lot of flack in the UK press when I talk about sex, especially as a gay guy. Because in the UK, like, I don't know if it's the same as much in America, when you're queer, you're allowed to be a shoulder to cry on. You can be a fashion stylist. You can be a fun best friend. You can be a hairstylist, but you're not allowed to have sexuality. It is a sin because, we still live in like a world which is terrified of gay people. And we still, in the UK, there's a lot of miseducation around like AIDS, etc. So gay sex is still seen as very, very provocative. And whenever I get flack for it, which happens a lot, I'm like, the lyrics to Human Nature, she's in my head, like I'm not sorry. Okay.
Why don't you just deal with it?
Yeah, it's just to me, the lyrics of that song are so like sassy and fun, and obviously they're provocative, but they're also very profound. And I love that the way she was responding to the world, judging her for sex and erotica. And to me, that whole era is so poignant just to me because of my career and the backlash that I get. And as I've gotten older, the song has taken on different meanings because I ended up going into the adult industry and, and like putting myself on a very sexual platform. And then you begin to understand that I can't even imagine how she might, because I've had it like, Madonna's had like, astronomical. I've had like mainstream stuff and the abuse you get is obscene. So I can't even, you understand how she did break down a little bit after Erotica and the sex book. And, she's spoken about it herself, about how she felt a bit broken by it. and I can totally understand it. So the lyrics have lots of different meanings to me, and the song has lots of different meanings to me because I grew up with it. And
Yeah.
it was the first time I saw her, and it's funny how I used to look at that video and think she looked like a witch because I was a kid, and I thought, oh, she looks like a witch. And then now I look at it and I think she's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I mean, 90s Madonna is heaven because she's just like the bone structure is. I mean, we all looked good 30 years ago, right?
I just like her I like seeing her with dark hair as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that video just because the choreography is just so badass. I mean, I wish that we had like rehearsal footage of that, the making of that. I would just love to see. I can never see enough behind the scenes stuff for her, and I know she doesn't like to show that because she just wants us to have the fantasy. She doesn't want us to see what brings us the fantasy. But I love her process, and I think that was what was great about the Ray of Light era was we got that interview with Kurt Loder where she showed her in the studio with William Orbit and her singing Skin in the studio. And even if they were just doing that as like a redo, just to like they were just faking it, or if it was actually happening while she was singing Skin, I just wish we could see more of that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I would love to see more behind the scenes of her on the development of like Human Nature, etc., and Bedtime Stories, because that was the kind of era I'd be very interested in where she was psychologically, really, because I work in an atmosphere in which I kind of feel obviously on a tiny, tiny, tiny level compared to her, but I know what it's like to get so much abuse for talking openly about enjoying sex.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see like just a day in, day out of maybe her responding to some press or hearing about a certain headline like where she's called the devil. No, I think, I mean, and just even on a superficial level, she's so fucking hot in that video. She's so hot. She's so sexy. And you can understand why all those basketball players were lining up.
Totally.
Even if it wasn't Madonna, the multi-millionaire, like there's a woman who looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's comfortable with her sex and she wants to get fucked. And I think that is so hot.
Well, Topher, I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you've got an empire to run over in London. But before you go, there's a little segment on the show that we like to call the lightning round. The answers are meant to be quick, off the top of your head, wherever you're at in your Madonna journey. So don't think too hard. Favorite Madonna song?
Human Nature.
Favorite Madonna album?
Erotica.
Favorite Madonna music video?
Beautiful Stranger.
Favorite Madonna tour?
Confessions.
Favorite Madonna movie?
Definitely Seeking Susan.
Oh, good one. And favorite Madonna look? And this can be from a music video, a tour, a photo shoot.
Her leaving the studios when she was promoting Hard Candy with the big black fur, the gold chains, and she looked like a mafia wife, and she's got this big blonde hair and the thigh-high Givenchy boots. She looks like a mob wife, and that is my favorite Madonna. And I think that's similar to the Give It To Me look. When she has the big black fur, it just looks so.
The M-Dolla, really?
Yeah, she looks like she's gonna punch you in the face, but then fuck you. I just love it.
Well, Topher, I'm so glad we were able to finally make this happen. Tell everyone where they can find you on social.
Okay, Instagram at Topher Taylor. That's pretty much what I really use at the minute because I'm kind of shadow banned everywhere. I'm on TikTok, but you won't really see me because I get blocked. But I've got lots of my writing and stuff and sex guides and sex toy expertise. And if you ever got a question about toys, you can always DM me. You've got friends in low places now.
And remember, everybody, you can find MLVC on all social platforms at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast. And if you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Topher, am I going to see you at Madonna Fan Party in October?
If I can get a ticket, yeah, because the first one...
Do you need a ticket? I can get you a ticket.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'll be there. I'll be there with bells on. I'll come as M-Dolla.
Please do.
I've got black fur.
I have to figure out what my outfit's going to be. I don't feel like costuming it this time, but
I will.
I'll figure it out. But okay, stay where you're at. We're going to chat after the live. But remember, everybody, until next time, nobody knows me like you know me.
Dun, dun.